The University of Colorado Denver Stadium shimmered under perfect May sunshine. 300 graduates in navy gowns rustled in their seats, families waving phones and flowers from the stands. When they called my name, Sarah Elizabeth Mitchell, Master of Science in Data Analytics, magna cum laude, I walked across that stage with a smile I'd practiced in the mirror that morning. Dean Morrison's handshake was brief. "Congratulations, Sarah." The photographer motioned me left. Big smile. I smiled. The camera flashed, and out of habit I glanced toward the audience, toward the section marked "Reserved for Family." Row C seats 14 through 18. Empty metal chairs reflecting afternoon sun like knives. I'd filled out the ticket request in March. 5 tickets. Patricia Mitchell, Mother Robert Mitchell, Father Madison Mitchell's sister. I'd even left 2 blank, just in case. The seats stayed empty. I held my diploma tighter, the leather folder pressing into my palm hard enough to leave a mark. Around me, students kissed their parents. Friends cried into bouquets. I stood beside strangers taking pictures. My classmate Ruby Chen found me in the courtyard afterward. "You did it," she gestured toward the crowd. "Where's your family?" The lie came automatic. "Running late, traffic." Ruby nodded sympathetically. Her parents were behind her holding balloons and crying happy tears. "They almost missed it because of I-25 construction. My mom's been crying since this morning." "That's sweet," I said, forcing a smile. "We're going to the kitchen for lunch. You should come." "I think we have plans already." I lied again. After the ceremony ended, I stayed in my seat while the stadium emptied. Waiting. Maybe they'd been delayed. Maybe there was an explanation. But the stands kept emptying until it was just staff picking up programs. The sun had shifted, casting long shadows across the field. I gathered my things and walked to the parking lot. Around me, families clustered for photos. A man about my father's age was setting up a professional camera, arranging his daughter and family for a group shot. "Everyone squeeze in." The mother noticed me watching. "Would you like us to take your picture? We can trade off." "No, thank you. I was just leaving." "Congratulations," she called. My car, a 2015 Honda Civic with a dent in the passenger door, sat alone at the far end of Lot F. I'd gotten there at 8 that morning, full of nervous energy. The day had felt full of possibility then. I sat in the driver's seat without starting the engine. Through the windshield, I watched the last families loading into cars, balloons tied to antennas, children running, laughter. I pulled out my phone. 3 notifications. My heart jumped for a second. Ruby asking about lunch. A bookstore promo email. My old roommate, congrats. Sorry I couldn't make it from KC. Nothing from the contacts labeled Mom, Dad, or Madison. I opened the family group chat. The last message was from Wednesday graduation is Saturday at noon. I have 5 tickets at will call. Below it, 3 check marks. Read by all of them. No responses. This wasn't the first time. 4 years ago, my undergrad graduation had been the same story. Different stadium, different degree, same empty seats. Mom had called the night before. "Madison has AP exams, you understand, honey." But I'd thought graduate school would be different. 2 years of late nights teaching assistant jobs, barely covering rent a thesis on healthcare predictive modeling. I'd graduated with honors. I'd thought this time they'll see me. The drive back to my Capitol Hill apartment took 23 minutes. I counted every one. Inside my studio was exactly how I'd left it that morning. Small, clean, quiet. The cap and gown went on the hook by the door. I set the diploma on the counter and stared at it. Sarah Elizabeth Mitchell, Master of Science in Data Analytics, awarded with distinction May 18, 2025. I made coffee even though it was 3 in the afternoon. Making coffee was something to do. The apartment filled with that particular silence that happens when you're alone after expecting not to be. I should have called them, asked what happened. But I was tired of being the one who always called first, who always understood, who always made excuses. Instead, I opened my laptop and looked at my bank account. Checking $847.32. Savings $2,847.09. Total $3,694.41. I scrolled through transaction history. March 15th, Venmo to Patricia Mitchell, $400 for Madison's dress. February 3rd, Venmo to Patricia Mitchell, $250. Dentist copay. January 8th, Venmo to Patricia Mitchell, $650. Car insurance help. I scrolled back further. The pattern was clear. Every few weeks for years, a text a crisis a favor. Just this once. We'll pay you back. They never paid back. In the last year alone, I'd sent home $7,340. That wasn't counting the years before when I worked at Starbucks during undergrad, every paycheck already spoken for before I deposited it. I'd told myself I was helping. That's what family does. But sitting in my quiet apartment with my diploma cooling on the counter, I finally asked a different question. What had they ever done for me? I'd been working since 16. Not because I wanted to, but because it was expected. Because Madison needed things. Because Dad's construction business had slow seasons. Because Mom's dental receptionist salary didn't stretch. "You're so responsible, Sarah," Mom used to say. "We can always count on you." At 16, I thought that was a compliment. At 26, I understood it was a job description. There was no college fund. "We used it for Madison's braces," Mom explained. "You understand. I'd taken loans. Worked 30 hours a week in that brown apron smelling like espresso studying calculus between customers. And every few weeks Madison has a field trip. Can you help just $50? I always could. That was the problem. Because somewhere deep down, I believed if I just gave enough, proved myself useful enough, they would see me. They would show up. My phone buzzed. University notification. Congratulations to all our graduates. The truth settled over me like snow. They weren't coming. They weren't going to call. They had made a choice. I let myself cry. Not pretty crying, the ugly kind that comes from somewhere deep and hurts on the way out. Then I washed my face and looked in the mirror. My eyes were red mascara smeared. I looked like someone who'd just realized the people who were supposed to love her simply didn't. But I also looked like something else, someone who was done. I picked up my phone, opened the family group chat one last time, and muted the conversation. Then I Googled how to set boundaries with family. 3 days later, when my phone lit up with a text from my mother, I was ready. Or at least I thought I was. The text came Tuesday morning at 9:47 a.m. I was at my desk in pajamas working on a cover letter for a data analyst position. My coffee had gone lukewarm. Outside, May sunshine promised fresh starts. My phone lit up. "Mom need $2,100 for Madison's Sweet 16 party. Cherry Creek Events needs deposit by Friday." "Thanks, honey." I stared at the screen. Long enough for it to go dark. I had to tap to read again. $2,100, not how are you, not congratulations on graduating, not sorry we missed your ceremony. Just a dollar amount, a deadline, and a heart emoji. I opened my banking app with shaking hands. If I sent $2,100, I'd have $1,594.41 left. Rent was $1,050 due in 2 weeks. Student loan payment $340 due next month. I'd have $104.41 to live on for 3 weeks. Maybe 4 if my job search took longer. My phone buzzed again. "Mom, the party's June 8th. She's inviting 75 people. We already booked the DJ. Just need to lock in the venue. 75 people. For a party my parents couldn't afford without my money. 3 weeks away. For my sister's 16th birthday. I was 26 with a master's degree. And my family still saw me as a bank account. I pulled up my full transaction history. 2 years of graduate school, I'd sent home $14,680. $14,680. I'd worked as a TA for $18 an hour, done freelance data entry on weekends, picked up bar shifts coming home at 2 a.m. with aching feet smelling like beer. All of it so I could send money home. And they couldn't show up to my graduation. My phone buzzed a third time. "Mom, can you Venmo it today? I need to put down the deposit." "No, please. No, if you can." Just an instruction. I opened Venmo. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. Part of me wanted to type, "Sure, Mom." But another part, the part that had woken up 3 nights ago, was asking different questions. When did they last help me? Why am I responsible for this? Why am I probably not even invited to this party? I typed in the amount, $2,100. My finger rested on pay. Then I deleted it. Typed $1, added a note. "Congrats on the party." Before I could stop myself, I hit send. You paid Patricia Mitchell $1 for 5 seconds. I felt nothing. Then panic and relief crashed together. My phone started ringing immediately. Mom's contact photo filled the screen. I didn't answer. Voicemail. 10 seconds later, Mom Sarah. "Did you mean to send $1? The venue needs $2,100. I set my phone face down and walked to the kitchen. Made fresh coffee just to give my hands something to do. My phone kept buzzing. I didn't look. Instead, I opened the junk drawer and found what I was looking for, a key ring with a single key. My mother's spare key to my apartment. She'd insisted on having one 3 years ago. Just for emergencies. She'd used it twice. Once to borrow my textbook. Once for my headphones Madison needed. Both times I'd come home to find things moved or missing. I texted you about it. You must not have seen. I knew you wouldn't mind. I dropped the key in the trash. It landed on an empty yogurt container with a small clink. It was 10:15 a.m., and I'd just done 2 things I'd never done before, refused to send money and thrown away her access to my space. I should have felt guilty. Instead, I felt lighter. I called the locksmith at 10:47. Mile High Lock and Key. This is Ray. I need to change my apartment lock. How soon can someone come? I've got 2:30 this afternoon in Capitol Hill. Perfect. The locksmith cost would be $180. Money I didn't have. But some things were worth being broke for. My phone rang again. Mom, 7th time. I silenced it. 3 new texts, Mom, Sarah. This isn't funny, Mom. Your sister is going to be devastated, Mom. Call me. I turned my phone off completely. Ray arrived at 2:28 p.m. He was in his 60s with kind eyes and weathered hands. Standard deadbolt replacement. Yes, I want something secure. He examined my cheap builder-grade lock. This isn't much. I'd recommend a Schlage B60, grade 1 security. Costs more, but it'll last. That sounds good. While he worked, he asked casually, how often do people call you to change locks because of family? His hands paused briefly. More than you'd think. About 30% of residential calls. Usually by the time someone calls me, they've been thinking about it for a while. Yeah, I said quietly. I have been. The way I see it, a lock is just a lock. It keeps people out who you don't want in, and you're the only one who decides who gets a key. He handed me the new key. Want to try? I turned it. Smooth, solid click as the deadbolt engaged. Total's $180. You get 3 keys. Keep a spare with a friend you trust. Not family if that's why you're changing the lock. Definitely not family. He nodded like that was normal. As he left, he paused. People sometimes feel bad about this. Just remember you're not locking people out. You're choosing who you let in. There's a difference. After he left, I locked the new deadbolt and stood with my hand on it. It felt solid, real, mine. My phone rang again. I didn't answer. Instead, I made real dinner. Pasta with vegetables. Ate slowly at my table, watching the sunset over Denver. At 9:47 p.m., I finally read the messages. I'd made chamomile tea first. Needed the ritual. The texts had escalated 2:47 p.m. Mom, did I do something wrong? 4:05 p.m. Mom, Madison is crying. She thinks you're mad at her. 6:18 p.m. Mom, I guess you don't care about your sister's happiness. 7:45 p.m. Mom, you're being very selfish right now. 8:30 p.m. Dad, whatever this is about, you need to call her. And then at 9:15 p.m., Mom, I'm calling a wellness check. You're not answering and I'm worried you might hurt yourself. I stared at that message. She was going to call the police. Not because she was worried 20 messages made it clear she was angry. She was weaponizing the police as punishment. I should have called her. Should have stopped it. But I was so tired. Tired of managing her emotions. Tired of fixing problems I didn't create. I turned off my phone and went to bed. The knock came at 10:00 a.m. the next morning. Firm. Official. I knew what it was before I looked through the peephole. 2 police officers stood in the hallway. I opened the door. Miss Mitchell. The officer on the left was a black man, mid-30s name tag, reading J.A. Harper. I'm Officer Harper, this is Officer Reeves. We received a call from your mother, Patricia Mitchell. She's concerned about your welfare. My heart was racing, but I kept my voice steady. Come in. Officer Harper and Officer Reeves, a white woman in her 40s with tired eyes, stepped into my apartment. I watched them take it in the clean dishes, the laptop open with job applications, the diploma framed on the wall. Do I look unstable to you? I asked quietly. Officer Harper's mouth twitched, almost a smile. Not even close, ma'am. Mind if we ask a few questions? Officer Reeves said. Standard procedure. Of course. They asked about work stress, mental health. I answered honestly. Just finished grad school, working on job applications, no medical issues. I just set a boundary with my family. Officer Harper nodded slowly. Your mother said you changed your locks and stopped answering calls, that you sent her an unusual payment of $1. I changed my locks because she had a spare key she used without permission. I sent $1 because she asked for $2 100s for my sister's birthday party. I have $3 600s to my name. My rent is $1,150. Officer Reeves was writing notes. And you're not in any danger, not thinking of harming yourself. No, I'm just done being a bank account for people who didn't show up to my graduation. The officers exchanged a look. Officer Harper said, "We'll file this as no concern. You can reference this visit if she calls again." At the door, he paused. Sometimes when people start standing up for themselves, others panic. Happens more than you'd think. You did nothing wrong here. After they left, I leaned against the door, not shaking from fear, from fury. My mother hadn't just crossed a line. She'd weaponized the police to humiliate me. I sat on my futon and opened my laptop. The police report arrived in my email 10 minutes later. I saved it. Mom Wellness Check May 19th PDF. Then something occurred to me. If Mom was willing to do this, what else had she done? I logged into my credit monitoring app, something I checked maybe once every few months. My score had dropped from 720 to 658 in 2 months. Why I clicked through to the full report. 2 new credit inquiries. Capital One Venture opened April 15th. Discover It Cash Back opened April 22nd. Both applications used my SSN and Mom's Littleton address. Current balances, $3,847. Capital One $4, $565. Discover, and total $8,412. My chest tightened. I hadn't applied for any cards. I clicked through the transactions, stomach dropping. Cherry Creek Events, $2,850. Denver DJ Agency, $1,200. Glam Studio, $975. Party City, $687. And Invitations by Design, $30, plus gas groceries. Target runs Marshalls. Mom's text came rushing back. Need $2 to $100 for Madison Suite 16. It wasn't a request. It was a cover-up. I called Capital One with shaking hands. "This is Sarah Mitchell. I need to report identity theft." The rep verified my information, then paused. This account was opened in person at our Littleton branch. Co-applicant Patricia M. Mitchell. "Did I authorize this? Did you know? I'm reporting fraud." She transferred me to fraud investigation. The new rep explained the process file FTC report freeze credit investigation takes 30-60 days. What happens to the person who did this? If it's family, usually civil court. Criminal charges if you want to pursue them. When the call ended, I sat staring at the screen. Mom hadn't just stolen from my future, she'd stolen my financial stability for a party. A text from Madison appeared. "Can't wait for Saturday. Mom says it's going to be perfect." I opened Colorado law websites. One-party consent state, I could legally record calls. I downloaded a voice recorder app. If I was going to confront her, I needed evidence. I dialed. She picked up after 3 rings. "So you're alive." "Mom, I found 2 credit cards opened in my name using your address. Want to explain?" She laughed. Hollow. "Oh, honey, I was helping you build credit. You should be grateful." "Grateful there's $8,000 in fraudulent debt." "Don't be dramatic. It's family money. What's yours is ours. Besides, Madison deserves this." "No," I said softly. "What's mine is mine. And what you did is under investigation." Silence. Heavy stunned. Then a sharp inhale. "You wouldn't dare." "I already did. The accounts are frozen. The bank has your signature." I ended the call. Save the recording evidence May 19th on MP3. Outside morning light spilled across my diploma and the new lock on my door. 2 pieces of proof I'd earned everything on my own. Now I was protecting it. My phone exploded with messages. I didn't read them. Instead, I made a checklist. Fraud report filed, evidence recorded, freeze credit file, FTC report, contact police for report number. This was war now, but for the first time I wasn't afraid. The silence in my apartment felt powerful. It wasn't the pause before a storm anymore. I was the storm. I spent the rest of Wednesday documenting everything. Spreadsheet column A date, column B transaction description, column C amount, column D which credit card. By noon I had 47 entries totaling $8,412.67. The 67 cents bothered me more than it should have, like Mom had been so casual about stealing my identity that she hadn't even rounded up. The FTC identity theft report took 2 hours to complete. Social Security number, current address, description of fraud, supporting documents. I attached screenshots of everything, the credit card statements, the transactions, the applications with Mom's signature. At 2:15 p.m., my doorbell rang. I checked the peephole carefully. After yesterday's police visit, I wasn't taking chances. A woman in business casual stood in the hallway holding a tablet. Mid-30s Southeast Asian with the kind of composed expression that said she'd seen worse than whatever I was dealing with. Sarah Mitchell, I'm Laura Chen from Capital One Fraud Investigation. You filed a report yesterday. I happen to be in the area. Do you have a few minutes? I let her in. She sat on my futon, opened her tablet, and got straight to business. I've reviewed your case. The application was submitted in person at our Littleton branch on April 15th. The applicant presented a driver's license with your name, provided your Social Security number, and listed Patricia Mitchell as a co-applicant with authorization. I never authorized anything. I believe you. Laura swiped through documents on her screen. The signature doesn't match your signature on file from your checking account application 3 years ago. CT? She turned the tablet toward me. 2 signatures side by side. Mine neat, careful loops. The fraudulent one looser, the A and Sarah slanting differently. That's my mother's handwriting, I said quietly. Laura nodded like she'd expected that. In cases of family fraud, we see this often. The perpetrator knows enough personal information to make the application look legitimate. They use a family address, which gives them access to the physical card when it arrives. What happens now? We've frozen both accounts, Capital One and Discover. The Discover investigator will contact you separately, but we coordinate on these cases. The debt will be removed from your credit report within 10 business days. She paused. The question is, do you want to pursue criminal charges? My stomach tightened. What would that mean? Identity theft is a Class 4 felony in Colorado. If convicted, it carries 2 to 6 years in prison and fines up to $500,000, but... She held up a hand. In family cases, prosecutors often offer plea deals, especially for first-time offenders. Is this her first time? Laura's expression shifted slightly. I can't discuss other investigations, but I can tell you that we've had prior inquiries involving your mother's name. Nothing charged, but inquiries. The room felt too small suddenly. How many times has she done this? I really can't say, but Laura leaned forward. People who commit identity theft once usually do it again. It's a pattern, and it rarely stops unless there are consequences. I thought about the texts from yesterday. You're being selfish. Madison is crying. You don't care about family. What if I don't press charges but want her to pay the debt? That's civil court. You'd sue for restitution. It's a longer process, but it avoids criminal penalties. Laura closed her tablet. Either way, we need documentation. The bank is pursuing collection regardless of your decision. We're sending an investigator to Cherry Creek Events tomorrow to verify the charges and document the party setup. The party's Saturday, 3 days from now. I know. Laura's expression was carefully neutral. If you pursue this legally, we'll need to verify that the fraudulent charges were actually used for their stated purpose. That means an on-site visit. My mind raced ahead. You're going to show up at my sister's Sweet 16 with documentation that the party was paid for with stolen credit cards. It's standard procedure for fraud cases over $5,000. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I felt sick. Madison hadn't done this. She didn't deserve to have her party ruined in front of 75 people. But then I remembered she'd known. She'd texted me about how perfect the party would be, and somewhere in that house she'd seen credit card bills arriving. Maybe she hadn't known at first, but at some point she'd known. What do I need to do? Laura handed me a business card. Think about it. You have 30 days to decide on criminal charges. For the civil case, you can file any time within 2 years. Call me with questions. After she left, I sat with her card in my hand. Laura Chen, Senior Fraud Investigator, Capital One. Her direct line was written on the back in neat handwriting. My phone, which I'd left silenced all morning, showed 32 missed calls and 48 text messages. I opened the messages, scrolling through. Quickly, Mom, 8:47 a.m. Sarah, we need to talk right now. Dad, 9:15 a.m. Your mother says you're accusing her of stealing. That's a serious allegation. Mom, 10:03 a.m. I did nothing wrong. You're making this up to hurt us. Madison, 10:45 a.m. What's going on? Mom's freaking out. Mom, 11:30 a.m. If you don't call me back, I'm coming to your apartment. That last one made me check the deadbolt. Still locked. Still secure. One text stood out from Madison at 1:22 p.m. Madison, Sarah, can we talk not about the party? Please. I stared at that message. Madison was 15. This wasn't her fault, not really. But she was old enough to know right from wrong. I texted back coffee tomorrow 2 p.m. at Pablo's on South Broadway. Just us. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then okay, I made myself dinner, scrambled eggs and toast, nothing fancy, and tried to focus on job applications. But my mind kept circling back to tomorrow, to whatever Madison wanted to say, to whether she'd known all along or only found out recently, or was still in denial. At 9 p.m., I called Detective Torres at Denver PD Financial Crimes. Laura had given me his direct number. Torres. His voice was rough, like he'd been talking all day. Detective Torres, this is Sarah Mitchell. Laura Chen from Capital One gave me your number. I filed an identity theft report. Write the family fraud case. Patricia Mitchell, your mother. I pulled the report this afternoon. I heard papers shuffling. You want to file criminal charges? I don't know yet. Laura said I have 30 days. You do, but let me give you some context. I've worked financial crimes for 8 years. About 60% of identity theft cases are family members. Parents stealing from kids, siblings from siblings, occasionally the reverse. You know what the conviction rate is? What, maybe 20%. And that's only when the victim actively pursues prosecution, testifies, doesn't cave to family pressure. He paused. Not trying to discourage you, but this is hard. Emotionally, legally. You sure you want to go down this road? She called the police on me, told them I was suicidal because I wouldn't send her money. Silence on the line. Then yeah, okay, that changes things. More paper sounds. Listen, I'm running her name through the system now. Hang on. I waited, my heart pounding. Huh, Detective Torres said. She's in here. Nothing charged, but there's a pattern. 2019 dispute with Macy's over fraudulent charges, resolved she paid restitution. 2021 issue with Xcel Energy, someone tried to open an account in her daughter's name. That was me. Doesn't specify, but it was dismissed. Then there's a note from 2023. Your father's workplace filed a report about personal mail being sent to their business address. No follow-up. He exhaled. Miss Mitchell, your mother has a history. Small stuff, but it's there. People like this don't stop unless something makes them stop. What would make her stop? Consequences. Real ones. Either a conviction or a civil judgment that hits her financially hard enough to matter, or he paused, the fear of both. After I hung up, I sat in the growing darkness of my apartment. I hadn't turned on the lights, and Denver's evening glow filtered through my windows, streetlights, car headlights, the distant buildings downtown. My mother wasn't just careless. She was a pattern, a habit, and I'd been part of that pattern for 10 years without realizing it. Pablo's Coffee was busy for a Thursday afternoon. Students with laptops, a few remote workers, the espresso machine hissing every few minutes. I got there 15 minutes early and ordered a chamomile tea I didn't really want, just to have something to hold. Madison arrived at 2:03, wearing her usual uniform, ripped jeans, oversized hoodie, white Converse that were more gray than white. Her hair was pulled into a messy ponytail, and she wasn't wearing makeup. She looked younger than 15. She looked scared. She ordered a vanilla latte, Mom's money probably, and sat across from me in the corner booth I'd chosen for privacy. Thanks for meeting me, she said quietly. Of course. We sat in awkward silence for a moment. Madison pulled at the sleeves of her hoodie, a nervous habit I recognized from when she was little. Finally, she said, Mom told me not to talk to you. But you're here anyway. Yeah. She met my eyes for the first time. Hers were red-rimmed, like she'd been crying. Sarah, I need to ask you something. Did you really only send $1? Yes. Why? I took a breath. Because Mom asked for $2,100 and I have $3,600 to my name. Because she didn't show up to my graduation. Because I'm tired of being a bank account. Madison flinched. She said you're being dramatic, that you're making this about you when it's my birthday. Did she tell you how she planned to pay for the party? She said you'd agreed to help, that it was family money. Madison's voice got smaller. But when you sent the $1, I knew something was wrong. So I asked her. What did she say? That you'd basically agreed, and it was easier to just handle it. Madison looked down at her latte. Then last week I saw credit card bills. Both said your name. I asked her about it. My chest tightened. What did she say? That she was helping you build credit. That it was technically your cards, but she was managing them for you. That it was complicated but legal. Madison's voice cracked. I believed her. I'm so stupid. You're not stupid. She's your mom. You trusted her. But you didn't trust her. You knew. Madison wiped her eyes with her sleeve. How long has she been doing this to you? I thought about how to answer that. How much truth a 15-year-old could handle. Taking money since I was your age. Identity theft I just found out. Oh my God. Madison put her face in her hands. Sarah, I'm so sorry. The party I told her we could do something smaller, like just family and close friends at the house. But she said I deserved something big, that you'd already had your turn with grad school. My turn that I paid for with loans and work, I said, trying to keep my voice level. That I'm still paying for. Madison nodded miserably. I know now. She looked up at me. What's going to happen? Mom's been crying for 2 days. Dad's not talking to anyone. They keep fighting about it. I pulled out my phone and opened Laura Chen's email, the one summarizing the fraud investigation. I turned it toward Madison. Read this. She read silently, her face going pale. When she finished, she whispered, $8,000 and $8 4/12. Jesus! She pushed the phone back toward me like it burned. Sarah, I swear I didn't know it was this bad. I thought maybe she'd borrowed like $1,000 for the venue deposit. Not all of this. Do you know what happens if your party goes forward on Saturday? Madison shook her head. Capital One is sending an investigator to Cherry Creek Events to document that the fraudulent charges were used for their stated purpose. That means someone will show up with paperwork and probably police to verify the party setup, in front of all your guests. The color drained from Madison's face. No, they can't, Sarah, please. Everyone's invited. We sent out the invitations. People bought presents. My friends, she stopped, breathing hard. Can you stop them? Please. I can't. The bank is pursuing this regardless of what I want. Once you file a fraud report, it's out of your hands. But you filed it. You could unfile it. No, I can't. And even if I could, I wouldn't. My voice came out harder than I intended. Madison, your party is being funded by identity theft. By Mom stealing my credit, my financial future. Do you understand that? She was crying now quietly, tears running down her face. I didn't ask for this. I just wanted a normal birthday. I know, and I did. Part of me did. But this isn't normal. None of this is normal. And if I let it go, if I just pretend it didn't happen, Mom will do it again. To me, to you, to someone else. To me, Madison looked up sharply. Detective Torres said Mom tried to open an Excel Energy account in her daughter's name in 2021. I was already in college. That was probably you. Madison went very still. She used my name. Probably. She has a pattern, Madison. The Macy's thing in 2019, the utility company, the credit cards now. This isn't a one-time mistake. For a long moment, Madison just sat there processing. The coffee shop noise continued around us, espresso machine conversations, someone's laptop playing music too loud. Finally, Madison said, "What do you want me to do?" "I want you to tell the truth, to yourself first, then to anyone who asks, about the credit cards, about what Mom told you, about what you knew and when." She's going to kill me. She's not. She's going to be angry, but she's not going to hurt you. I hoped that was true. Madison, you're 15. In 3 years, you'll be in college. You need to learn now that this isn't how families work. That love isn't supposed to come with debt and lies. She pulled a napkin from the dispenser and wiped her face. Are you going to press charges, like actual criminal charges? I don't know yet. I have 30 days to decide. If you do, what happens to her? Prison maybe, or probation, or a plea deal. I honestly don't know. I reached across the table. Madison didn't pull away. But whatever happens, it's not your fault. And it's not mine. It's Mom's. She made these choices. Madison's phone buzzed on the table. We both saw the screen light up. Mom. Where are you? Come home now. Madison stared at it, then flipped it face down. I told her I was studying at the library. You should probably go. Yeah, but she didn't move. Sarah, can I ask you something else? Sure. Do you hate us, me and Dad? The question caught me off guard. I don't hate you. I'm angry at Dad for letting this happen, for not protecting me from Mom. But I don't hate you, Madison. You're my sister. Even after everything, I meant it. But I can't keep setting myself on fire to keep you warm. That's not love. That's martyrdom. She smiled weakly. You sound like a therapist. I sound like someone who's been reading a lot of articles about boundaries. We stood up together. Outside, the afternoon had turned cloudy, threatening rain. Madison pulled up her hood. One more thing, I said as we reached the door. Saturday, whatever happens at the party, you didn't do this. Remember that. Madison nodded, but I could see the fear in her eyes. She was already imagining it, the investigator showing up, her friends watching the whispers that would follow her at school. I almost caved. Almost called Laura Chen right there to ask if there was any way to postpone, to handle it differently, to spare Madison the humiliation. But then I remembered sitting in that stadium searching the crowd for faces that never came. I remembered every text asking for money, every time I'd said yes when I should have said no. Sometimes the right thing hurts everyone involved. That doesn't make it wrong. Madison left without hugging me. I watched her walk to her car, a 2018 Honda CR-V that was nicer than mine, paid for by my parents somehow, and drive away. Then I pulled out my phone and texted Laura Chen, don't postpone the investigation. Saturday as planned. Her reply came in seconds. Understood. We'll be professional and discreet. 6 p.m. during setup before guests arrive. I walked back to my apartment through the threatening rain, and by the time I reached my door, I was crying. Not because I regretted it, because I didn't. Friday morning, my phone rang with an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Sarah, my father's voice. It's Dad. I sat down on my futon, gripping the phone. Hi, Dad. We need to talk. Your mother, she's very upset. She says you're accusing her of stealing, that you've involved the police and the banks. His voice was tight, controlled. The voice he used when he was angry, but trying not to show it. I think there's been a misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding. She opened 2 credit cards in my name without permission. That's identity theft. Now hold on. Your mother wouldn't do that. She probably thought she had your permission. It's just a miscommunication. She forged my signature, Dad. Silence. Then, maybe she did, but her intentions were good. She was trying to help Madison have a nice birthday. You know how important this is to her. More important than my credit, my financial future. Don't be dramatic, Sarah. Family helps each other. We've always helped each other. I almost laughed. When have you helped me? We raised you, fed you, put a roof over your head. That's called being a parent. That's the minimum requirement, not a favor. My voice was shaking now. I've sent you over $14,000 in the past 2 years. I worked through college. I worked through grad school. You didn't come to my graduation. And now you're asking me to let Mom commit a felony because it's family. Jesus, Sarah. His voice hardened. You've changed. Ever since you went to that college, got those ideas in your head, you think you're better than us now. I think I deserve to be treated like a person, not an ATM. Well, your sister deserves a nice birthday. And if you had any decency, you'd drop this nonsense and help your family. No. That single word hung in the air between us. What did you say? No. I'm not dropping it. The investigation is moving forward. The bank is documenting everything tomorrow at the party venue, and I'm deciding whether to press criminal charges. My father's voice went cold. You do that, and you're not part of this family anymore. You understand, you choose that path, you're choosing to be alone. Something inside me cracked, but it wasn't breaking. It was opening. Dad, I've been alone for 10 years. You just never noticed. He hung up. I sat there for a long time, phone in my hand, staring at nothing. The apartment was quiet except for my neighbor's TV through the wall and the distant sound of traffic on Colfax. My phone buzzed. Text from Mom. Mom, family dinner tonight. 6 p.m. We're discussing this like adults. I stared at that message. Every instinct I had screamed to ignore it, to stay home to avoid the confrontation. But another part, the part that was tired of running, tired of avoiding, tired of letting them control the narrative, decided differently. I texted back, "Not at your house. Gunther Tootie's in Highlands Ranch. 6:30, public place only." The reply took 5 minutes. Fine. I spent the afternoon preparing. Not physically, I wasn't going to dress up for this, but mentally. I printed out the credit card statements, the fraud investigation summary, the police report from the wellness check. I put everything in a brown folder that had seen better days. Then I rehearsed. Out loud in my empty apartment, I practiced saying the things I'd never been able to say. "You stole from me. What you did is illegal. I won't accept blame for your choices." My voice shook the first few times. By the 10th repetition, it was steady. At 6:15, I drove to Gunther Tootie's, a retro diner in Highlands Ranch, halfway between their house and my freedom. I got there early, chose a booth in the middle of the restaurant, visible public safe, and ordered coffee I didn't want. They arrived at 6:32. Mom first in a floral dress and sunglasses, even though it was overcast outside. Dad behind her looking smaller than I remembered. And Madison last eyes down, phone clutched in both hands. Mom slid into the booth across from me, Dad next to her. Madison hesitated, then sat next to me, leaving a careful 6 inches of space between us. "Camilla," Mom said sharply, then stopped. "Sarah, you really made us drive all the way here." "We're not eating," I said. My voice surprised me, steady cold. "We're talking." The waitress came by, poured coffee, left. Smart woman. I slid the brown folder across the table. 2 credit cards opened in my name, Capital One and Discover, both tied to your address, both used for Madison's party, total 8 4/12s. Mom's smile barely twitched. "Honey, I already explained. I was helping you build credit. It's a gift, really." "Helping you forged my signature." She waved her hand dismissively. "Don't make this dramatic. It's family. You've always been so ungrateful. Do you think the world doesn't know who paid for your education?" I laughed, a sharp sound that made everyone in the nearby booths turn. "You mean me? I paid for it. Every loan, every shift, every dollar. While you used my college fund for Madison's braces." Madison groaned. "Here we go again." I turned to her. "That silver dress you wore in the Instagram photos, $347. On my Discover card. You danced in a dress purchased with identity theft." Her eyes darted away. "Mom said you agreed." "Mom lied." "Enough!" Mom's voice sliced through. "You don't talk to your sister that way. I didn't steal from you, Sarah. I borrowed for the family." "You used my identity," I said quietly. "You called the police on me because I changed my locks. You tried to paint me as unstable so you could keep control. That ends today." Dad finally spoke, his voice small. "Sweetheart, your mother just got carried away. Let's not blow this up. We can fix it privately." I pushed the folder closer. "There's no fixing it privately. The bank already knows. There's an open investigation. Capital One is sending an investigator to the party tomorrow." Mom's face drained of color. "You did what?" "I reported the fraud. The accounts are frozen. The bank has your signature, your phone number, your address. They're documenting everything tomorrow at 6 p.m. The silence was absolute. Even the diner noise seemed to dim. "You'll regret this," Mom hissed. "You're destroying this family over a misunderstanding." "No, Mom." I stood up, leaving cash for my coffee. "You destroyed it the moment you decided my name was worth more to you than my trust." I walked out before anyone could respond. Outside, the air smelled like rain. I sat in my car for a long moment, hands shaking on the steering wheel. Through the diner window, I could see them, Mom talking rapidly, hands gesturing. Dad staring at the table. Madison crying. I started the car and drove home. Tomorrow was Saturday. Tomorrow everything would come to light. Tomorrow there would be consequences. For the first time in 10 years, they wouldn't be my consequences to carry. Saturday arrived with clear skies and my phone turned off. I'd made that decision Friday night. No phone, no contact, no last-minute guilting or threats. Whatever happened at Cherry Creek events would happen without me watching in real time. I spent the morning cleaning my apartment. Not because it needed it, but because I needed something to do with my hands. By 2 p.m., my studio was spotless. By 4 p.m., I'd reorganized my bookshelf alphabetically. By 5 p.m., I was sitting on my futon staring at my silent phone. Laura Chen had said 6 p.m. During setup before guests arrived at 7. Professional and discreet. At 5:45, I turned my phone back on. The notifications flooded in like a dam breaking. 43 missed calls, 68 text messages, 3 voicemails. I didn't listen to the voicemails. I scrolled through the texts instead. Mom, 11:23 a.m. If you don't stop this, I will never forgive you. Mom, 1:47 p.m. Madison is getting ready. She's so excited. How can you do this to her? Dad, 3:15 p.m. Last chance to make this right, Madison, 4:02 p.m. Please, Sarah, please don't let them come, Madison, 4:58 p.m. I'm sorry for everything. Just please. That last one made my chest ache. I typed a response 3 times and deleted it 3 times. What could I say? I'm sorry felt like a lie. This isn't about you felt insufficient. Mom did this, not me, felt like passing blame. I settled on I love you. Remember that. Sent it at 5:59 p.m. Then I put my phone on the coffee table screen up and waited. 6:17 p.m. Text from unknown number on site at venue. Documentation in progress. LC Laura Chen. Professional to the end. 6:23 p.m. My phone started ringing. Mom. I didn't answer. 6:31 p.m. Text from Madison, they're here. 6:34 p.m. Another text from Madison. Oh my God, Sarah, they're reading everything out loud. 6:37 p.m. Unknown number different from Laura's. This is Officer Reeves. Wanted you to know we're at the venue. No arrests, just documentation. Your mother is not cooperating well. I closed my eyes. Tried to picture it, the banquet hall decorated in purple and silver. Balloons, probably. A DJ setting up in the corner. And Laura Chen with her tablet showing credit card statements to venue staff while Officer Reeves took notes. Mom would be loud. She'd deny everything, then blame me, then cry. A predictable pattern. 6:42 p.m. Madison again, everyone staring. The DJ is leaving. Mom's yelling at a cop, 6:45 p.m. Ruby Chen, my friend, not the investigator. Sarah, there's a TikTok of someone's party getting shut down by police and the comments say it's your sister. Are you okay? My heart sank. Of course someone was recording. Of course it was already online. I clicked the link Ruby sent. A shaky 38-second video from someone's phone, purple and silver decorations. The Madison Sweet 16 Born to Shine banner partially visible. Laura Chen in business casual holding her tablet toward a police officer. Mom's voice in the background shrill. My daughter is lying about this. She's making this up because she's jealous. Officer Reeves calmly. Ma'am, we have the documentation, the signature verification, the video cut off. Comment scrolling. OMG, what happened? Context, the mom is losing it. Poor birthday girl. 267,000 views in 20 minutes. 6:52 p.m. Call from Dad. I answered this time. Sarah. His voice was raw. What have you done? I reported fraud, Dad. That's what I did. The police are here, at Madison's party. Everyone's watching. The DJ packed up and left. Half the guests are leaving. He was breathing hard. Your mother is... They're threatening to arrest her if she doesn't calm down. She needs to calm down. How can you be so cold? This is your sister's birthday. This is my life, Dad. My credit. My future. And Mom stole it. For family. For Madison. Jesus, Sarah, when did you become so selfish? The word hung there. Selfish. The same accusation I'd heard my whole life whenever I wanted something for myself. I'm not selfish for having boundaries, I said quietly. I'm just done being a doormat. If you don't come down here right now and fix this, I'm not coming, and there's nothing to fix. This is the consequence of Mom's choices, not mine. I hung up. 7:03 p.m. Text from Madison parties canceled. Everyone's gone. Mom's crying in the car. Thanks a lot. I read that message 5 times. Each time I waited for guilt to hit. For regret. For the urge to apologize and make it right. It didn't come. What came instead was something quieter. Sadder. A grief for what my family could have been if anyone had loved me the way I'd loved them. 7:15 p.m. Laura Chen. Documentation complete. Venue manager confirmed all charges were made on the fraudulent cards. Full report will be filed Monday. Denver PD has incident report. No arrests made, but your mother was warned about obstruction. 7:20 p.m. Officer Reeves, your mother made threats against you on scene. She'll pay for this, type statements. Nothing actionable, but wanted you aware. Stay safe. I screenshot that message and saved it in a folder labeled Evidence. The rest of Saturday evening, I sat in my quiet apartment watching the sky darken over Denver. My phone kept buzzing more messages, more calls, more vitriol. I read them once, then muted everything except calls from Laura Chen and Detective Torres. By 10 p.m., the texts had stopped. By midnight, I was sitting in the dark drinking chamomile tea that had gone cold, wondering if doing the right thing was supposed to hurt this much. Sunday morning, Laura Chen called. Sarah, it's Laura. I wanted to follow up on yesterday. Are you okay? I'm fine. I wasn't. But what else do you say? The documentation is complete. Your mother signed an acknowledgement of unauthorized use in exchange for us not pursuing criminal charges through the bank's legal team. She's agreed to a repayment plan, $8.400 over 24 months at 7% interest. Total comes to about $9.100. She agreed to that. Eventually, after her lawyer explained the alternative was felony charges. Laura paused. The accounts are closed. The debt is removed from your credit report. You should see your score recover in 30 to 60 days. What about criminal charges, the police report? That's still your decision. You have 30 days. Detective Torres will call you Monday to discuss options. After we hung up, I made coffee and opened my laptop. The TikTok video had 1.2 million views now. The comments had evolved from curiosity to judgment. The mom tried to steal her daughter's identity for a party. Poor older sister just standing up for herself. That banner, though, born to shine with fraud. The mom is giving narcissist energy. I closed the app. I didn't need to read more. At 2 p.m., there was a knock on my door. I checked the peephole carefully. Madison stood in the hallway wearing sweatpants and one of my old high school hoodies that I'd forgotten she had. Her eyes were swollen from crying. I opened the door. Can I come in? I stepped aside. She walked in slowly, looking around like she'd never seen my apartment before. Maybe she hadn't. I couldn't remember her ever visiting. Mom doesn't know I'm here, Madison said, sitting on the edge of my futon. She told me I'm not allowed to talk to you. But you're here anyway. Yeah. She pulled her sleeves over her hands. Yesterday it was the worst day of my life. I'm sorry. Are you? Her voice wasn't angry, just tired. Because it doesn't seem like you care at all. I sat down in my desk chair, facing her. I care about you, Madison. I don't care about protecting Mom from consequences she earned. Everyone saw. Everyone was recording. By the time I got to school tomorrow, everyone will have seen that video. Tears started falling. Ashley's mom asked if our family was in trouble. Jessica's dad is a lawyer and he told her mom that identity theft is a felony. I'm going to be the girl whose mom is a criminal for the rest of high school. I know, and I'm sorry you're dealing with that. But I didn't cause it. Mom did. You could have handled it privately. You didn't have to get the police involved. You didn't have to ruin my party. The bank got the police involved, not me. And your party was ruined the moment Mom decided to pay for it with fraud. I leaned forward. Madison, I know this hurts, but sometimes the truth hurts everyone. That doesn't make it wrong. She was quiet for a long time. Finally, she whispered, What's going to happen now? Mom has to pay back the money. If I decide to press criminal charges, she could face legal consequences. Are you going to? I don't know yet. Please don't. Madison looked up at me with red, desperate eyes. Please, Sarah. She's our mom. I know she screwed up, but she's still our mom. I know who she is. My voice came out gentler than I expected. And that's exactly why I'm considering it. Because if there are no real consequences, she'll do this again. Maybe to me, maybe to you, maybe to someone else. Madison flinched at that. She wouldn't do it to me. She already tried. In 2021. An Excel Energy account in your name. The color drained from Madison's face. What Detective Torres told me. It didn't go through, but she tried. Madison stood up abruptly. I should go. Wait, no, I need to go. She was at the door, hand on the knob. Sarah, I get that you're mad. I get that what she did was wrong. But she's still our mom and you're destroying our family. I'm not destroying anything. I'm just refusing to be destroyed anymore. Madison left without another word. I stood at the closed door for a long time after she was gone, listening to her footsteps fade down the hallway. Monday morning, Detective Torres called. "Miss Mitchell, I've reviewed the incident report from Saturday. Your mother made some concerning statements. Given that and her history, I'd recommend pressing charges. Not for revenge, for prevention." "If I press charges, what happens?" "She'd be charged with identity theft class 4 felony. First offense, she'd likely get a plea deal. Probably probation, restitution, mandatory counseling, maybe community service. Prison is unlikely unless she has other charges I don't know about." I thought about Madison crying in my apartment, about the TikTok with millions of views, about my father's cold voice saying, "You're not part of this family anymore." "I need to think about it," I said. "You've got time, but Sarah, people like your mother don't change without a push. You can be kind or you can be effective. Rarely both." 3 months later, autumn settled over Denver. I was sitting at my desk at Nova Data Labs, the job I'd landed in July, when my phone rang with an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Sarah Mitchell, yes. This is Angela Torres from the District Attorney's Office. I'm calling about Patricia Mitchell. You filed a criminal complaint for identity theft." My heart raced. "Yes, in May. We've reached a plea agreement. Your mother pled guilty to 1 count of identity theft reduced from felony to misdemeanor. She'll serve 18 months probation, complete 100 hours community service, attend court-mandated therapy, and pay full restitution of $9,100. No prison time." "Okay," I managed. "The judge wants to schedule a victim impact statement. You have the right to address the court about how this affected you. Would you like to do that?" I thought about it. About standing in a courtroom facing my mother reading a prepared statement about betrayal and boundaries and the price of family. "No," I said. "The restitution and therapy are enough." After hanging up, I sat at my desk for a while, staring at the Denver skyline through the office windows. My coworker James noticed. "You okay?" "Yeah, just family stuff." "Ah," he nodded knowingly. "The kind of family stuff that makes you grateful for chosen family." "Exactly that kind." That evening I met Ruby for dinner at a Thai place in Reno. We'd gotten closer over the summer, real friendship, not just classmate acquaintances. She knew most of the story by now. "How are you feeling?" she asked over pad thai. "Relieved, sad, guilty, all of the above." That sounds about right for setting boundaries with toxic family. Ruby had her own stories, a father who'd stolen her savings when she was 19. She got it. "Have you talked to your sister?" "Not since June. She texts sometimes, short stuff, nothing substantial." "Give her time. She's young. When she gets older, out from under your mom's influence, she might understand." "Maybe." I picked at my food. "My mom has to pay $380 a month for 2 years. Dad called it blood money from my own daughter. Said I should be ashamed." "Are you?" "No, and I meant it. I'm tired, but I'm not ashamed." Walking back to my car after dinner, my phone buzzed. Madison mom starts therapy next week. Court ordered. Thought you should know." I stood under a streetlight reading that message 3 times, then typed, "That's good. She needs it." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Madison maybe, IDK. "Things are weird here." "Me? I'm sorry it's weird." "Madison, yeah, well, you did what you had to do, I guess. It wasn't forgiveness, but it wasn't hatred either. It was complicated. Real. A start, maybe. Me. How are you doing, Madison, surviving? People mostly stopped talking about it. New scandals at school helped Lowell. Madison, I'm thinking about getting a job, so I don't have to ask them for money. Me. That's really smart. Madison learned from the best. Or worst. IDK which? I smiled at that. Me coffee sometime. When you're ready. Madison maybe. Not yet. But maybe. Me, I'll be here. Back in my apartment, the one with the good lock and no spare keys given out, I made tea and stood at the window. The city glowed below, lights blinking on as dusk fell. On my wall, 3 things hung in a row: my diploma, my Nova Data Labs employee badge, and the old lock mechanism Ray the locksmith had given me as a souvenir. "Proof you changed the door," he'd said. "I didn't know if my family would heal. I didn't know if Madison would ever really forgive me, or if my father would ever speak to me again, or if my mother's therapy would actually change anything. What I knew was this: the door was locked, and I had the only key. I'd chosen myself. I'd drawn a line, and for the first time in 26 years, I could breathe.